through this morning is the safety scores. There was several of you have probably finished up your spring meetings. There was a lot of discussion in the spring meetings about safety scores, so we want to just hit a few things on there. That'll also include some information about the training alerts when you assign work. Randall's going to highlight that. Then we're going to go into documenting work. We want to talk a little bit about just work activities we have coming up. Right now, getting ready to do a lot of our big work. So just want to work through those a little bit, think through the lead part, think through how we report items, talk about emergency callouts. Unfortunately, weather has got really crazy on us just over the last week with several storms and tornadoes. So touch base on that. And K numbers. We'll talk a little bit about property damage, some information that Randall has been working on, highlight some of that with you. New striping process, we're going to highlight that along with highlighting litter pickup, some information particularly in the month of April with our trash bash there, some guidance of how to capture bags as you're picking those up. And then spraying reminder, again, that season's upon us and making sure we're aware of that direction when it comes to documentation and spraying for herbicide applications. Career ladder, I'm going to talk a little bit about leave request, results, and then time allows. We will finish up with a demonstration of our next module coming out on license. So with that being said, again, thank you for joining us. We got about 40 people or so today. Again, weather's great, so I understand this probably having lower numbers. A lot of people got things to do. So thank you for your time today. I'm going to share my screen. Tommy and Randall might be throwing some quizzes up there, kind of not a quiz. It's actually a poll just to kind of see about the information we're sharing, if that's coming across right. So they might throw a few of those up on the screen as we go along, but let's dive right into it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to turn my camera off here, and we'll talk a little bit about our safety score. So all of you as supervisors, any employee can come in and see your safety score. We've had these now. They're almost about 2 years old. The last time we made a change in how the matrix is set up, how they are given points, was last September. So we've not really used this matrix too terribly long now. But again, encourage you to look through that. There has been a pretty good effort made statewide, particularly of our buildings that are in the red now. So there is about 511 orgs statewide. So it goes all the way from the top org all the way through. Again, every single org, whether that is a central office, chief engineer, to right-of-way, to construction, to maintenance, to bridge, everyone. So the green ones are everything above 90, and you'll see that break there. Yellow is from 90 down to 80 is basically what that is there. When we went live with these, again, back in September, we probably were, I don't know, I'm going to say we were probably a good 75 buildings that were in red. Red now is defined at basically below 80. And so there's been huge improvements made on this since we went. There really is, I'm going to kind of guess that's probably about 25. It's probably about where that is now. So pretty substantial difference there in those particular items. And so those buildings, again, we've got a lot of awareness of just, what are those numbers? Is there something wrong with the number? Always let us know if you're kind of curious about something. So I encourage you to look at the safety score calculation link above. It'll open up a page that basically kind of walks you down through how all the points are and how they were calculated. So again, encourage you to take a look at that, just kind of see if that makes sense to you, why you're getting the points that you are, where those are coming from. Again, time frames on those, you can read across the top there. So if anything on those that you need us to kind of dive into, sometimes that's the best when it's just kind of a one-on-one conversation. Call one of us, let us know, talk to your district safety health manager. Just reach out to us. We don't want anyone to be misinformed or misunderstood, or better yet, we just don't want some bad information in there. And so use that to help you see the places that we need to improve upon. Statewide, When it comes to incidents, just overall, someone getting hurt, vehicle incidents, we averaged over the last year a little over 100, maybe about 110 or 20 per month. It's a pretty substantial amount when you look at it. And as of right now, Tuesday. So Tuesday is our highest day for the last 3 years of incidents. So we're starting out the day. Let us be safe. Let's make sure that that happens that way all day, throughout the day, and be careful that we can all make it home safely. And so again, encourage you, look into that. If you got questions, reach out to your safety officer, reach out to one of us. They're going to know the data as far as the incidents better than what we will, but don't want something to never be looked at wrong. So we do have a training report. Again, many of you have looked at that. This training data on this page here allows you to see exactly what it tells you to do, far as were you trained for your position. And so that is basically updated every night from mo.u. So just be mindful of that. Again, if you see something, let us know and check on there. So Tommy threw a poll up there. If you guys would go ahead and answer that question, what can you do to boost your score? There is the ability to increase your score by 10 points. And so what are things that you can do to increase your score? Go ahead and vote on that and then hit submit. And that's fantastic. Looks like you guys are knocking that out of the park. 100% there. The changes that you can do to your score to be preventative is to do those observations. And again, encourage you all, make sure that you're doing those observations. I'll hit the safety management page there. You'll notice there that button right beside the dashboard. Right there's those safety observations. Again, make sure that you're clicking through those. If you do one of those observations, it's going to load with your information, who you are, your org. You can put your date and time. Notice at the very bottom, submit without observer's name or org. If you hit submit, you do not get credit. So that's pretty much the way that happens. And we've had some buildings call us about that. If you do not keep your organ here and you hit submit without that, you're losing any kind of credit to your org. But sometimes people want them to be anonymous. They don't want anyone to know who turned it in. That's why that was built that way. That was set up that way. It's been that way since observations were created. So you have that right. You're more than welcome. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna let Tommy show you. We just recently added a new column to our training report that helps highlight a hire date. So I'll have him show that on his screen, and then we'll have Randall highlight a little about training alerts.
Thanks, Michael. One thing I did want to add on the observations, this weekend, we're going to be adding informational buttons to each one to kind of explain what is the observation, what are you doing for observation, what are you doing for good catch, and what are you doing for near miss. So there'll be a little eye on the corner of these buttons that you can click on for information. It'll kind of explain to you what each one's designed to do. We've had some feedback going, I'm not sure which one's which or what I'm supposed to be doing. So we'll be adding that over the weekend, I think. It may be June, but that's coming real soon. And I just wanted to point that out, that should provide a little more guidance on what the 3 buttons are designed to be for. As Michael mentioned, we recently added a new field to our training data report. I'll just show you real quick where that is, and then I'll show the report. So for supervisors that have people reporting to them, you'll have a training data at the top of your safety dashboard. And from there, when you open that report, I've just already got it loaded to save time here, but we added a new column called hire date, and we set that right here between the required courses and then the completed course information. And our district safety and health managers and safety emergency managers, they thought this would be useful as far as identifying when were they hired, so that they can kind of target, this is when they should be taking these classes. And so just a simple new column for this report, but I think it'll be beneficial to those folks that use this and need that. Michael, is there any other thing you wanted to elaborate on that new column?
No, that's great. We just found that this is something that can help us, particularly with a new employee. They've come in, they've done gear up for work zone, and then we want them in that position for a period of time, maybe close to a year, and then knowing when we should be putting them into that work zone technician. So hopefully that's a help, particularly for some of our people who's trying to keep up with who's missing something, who needs to go get the next course. All right,
Thanks, Mark.
thank you. Appreciate it, Tommy. Randall.
All right, good morning. So I'm going to go through a reminder of the training alerts that you get whenever you go to assigning work. We do this ever so often, but we got new supervisors, new crew leaders, that kind of stuff. It's important we've got these set up to remind us on as many of these as possible. And there's a few different ways you get these reminders. So I want to go through this process. So I'm logged in as a supervisor. We'll go to daily journal and assigning work. So one of the ways that you are alerted is by the activity. So if there are different things that are set up for that activity, different required trainings, it'll notify you. So I'm going to select paving, and we'll go through here and select a couple pieces of equipment that require a special training. So that'll get us a few. I think that'll probably kick up an alert. We'll go to next, and now we'll go to the employees tab. So as I said, one of the first things is going to be on the training. So we've got an hourly employee at this building. So you notice the little information button here. This employee hasn't been selected, so they don't get the triangle, but there is a little information button saying, hey, something's going to be wrong if you assign them for this activity. So there's gear up for basic safety and cargo securement, dump truck. It's required for that activity. They don't have it. So you get this little information button here. If you assign them, it goes to a triangle saying, hey, this is a problem. That's the first way that it gets notified. The second is on a role. So let's see if I can assign this person a role of maybe a work zone coordinator or something, work zone coordinator. Okay, and now let's look and see what the, okay. So we've got two different alerts now. One because of the activity that they were assigned, they didn't have all the trainings. And now because of the role they were assigned, they don't have all the trainings. So there's a work zone coordinator is assigned a role that they don't have advanced work zone training. So there's another problem. Now let's go ahead and assign a piece of equipment. So I'm having a lot of luck with this person here since they're seasonal. They don't have a bunch of training. So let's assign them a piece of equipment that requires a special training. And let's look now. And there we're getting another warning, right? They're not trained for the distributor for that fleet class. They need this asphalt distributor operations. So there's multiple ways that a person can be identified as not having all the proper trainings. It's important. It's not required. You can go ahead and all you have to assign is a leader. That's all it has to be assigned that's required. However, we strongly encourage you, go ahead and assign your roles that you know. You assign the equipment that you know, especially this equipment that takes different trainings and specialized training. Go ahead and assign that. You'll get those alerts, and then you can just help better make sure that everybody's trained. So we'll go ahead and we're going to say that this seasonal we've got is really going to do all the work except for be the leader. So we can go back out here, and now you'll notice there's a triangle out here on the daily journal assigning work page. You can go ahead and select that and see what those trainings are right here. Those are the missed trainings. If there were trainings for other people that were missed, it would show up here. So really strongly encourage you, assign as much stuff as possible. We talk about like the mowers. Do I have to assign the same mowers that mow all the time every day? Not necessarily, but I recommend at least once a week assigning them, maybe on Monday, assign them. in case there's a new training that's changed, that safety management is requiring something different, this should catch that and kind of help you keep up with it. So just encourage you to do that. Any questions on training alerts? All right, Michael, turn it back over to you for a little bit.
Hey, appreciate it. Hey, Jason, thank you for asking a question there. Is talking about kind of getting to those training reports. Jason asked, would it be beneficial for an assistant or a crew leader to be able to access the training record that's only available to supervisor? So when we built that, we really built it based upon engage. Who is the engaged supervisor who is looking at that particular information and responsible for that information? We have actually argued this back and forth. The first thing we start with is we do encourage assistant supervisors in the district. It makes the most sense that they are involved and engaged. We've challenged a lot of the different districts to rethink that. I think a lot of super assistants have some kind of involvement and engage, but they need to be assigned to people. That's how they see it. But at this point, we just haven't taken the crew leaders. I think that when it comes to small buildings, again, what is that supervisor's job? What's that responsibility there? So we've talked about a lot, Jason, and we still just have not got there. We make a pretty good argument on both ends. So until we can be conclusive, we just haven't moved off that. But very good point. Yeah, I appreciate you asking that.
Just real quickly, Michael, to elaborate on that for a second, the reason that we limit what you can see, it's not just to make it a pain and say only supervisors should do this, right? We're going through all the rules and stuff that HR has. And once you get access to one thing, sometimes that gives you access to multiple things that's personal information from employees. So there's reasons that we have to restrict it. We have to get all that approved.
Yeah. So there is, I don't know, the last thing we ever want to do is to give someone access to something that puts them in a place that they shouldn't be. And not all that's as segmented as we'd like, right? There's not just unique access just to training. There is. It's based upon, are you the engaged supervisor? And that's why we did that intentionally that way. So appreciate it, Jason. Like I said, keep helping us. We want it to be the right deal. KK, what do you know, Kara?
Hey, I was just wondering on the role part, is there a way to add another role on there? Like with striping, we more have operators. I mean, we could do the work zone, the front truck or something like that, but or it's like operator. Could we just have maybe just operator?
Absolutely. Randall, you want to bring that? Can you get back to your assigning work page? There's a place you can actually add your own in there, KK, if you want to. And I've seen some of our crews, particularly one of our St. Louis crews, is really good. We want employees to be thoroughly, assigned work. We want them to have all the roles that they're doing and their equipment, as Randall was pointing out there. We're open to adding more kind of canned roles, and we did one of those just recently. I can't remember. It was one of the follow truck roles. But if you click on roles there, click on person's name, I think first, maybe. Here we go. Okay, so if you scroll, you can just start typing in yourself, and you can make up your own role. So if you want to call it, lead operator, striper on the left, you can kind of call that whatever you want. You can make up a role for it. Now, it's not tied to a training, but yet it lays out what is expected to do. Right. And again, if there's something that's kind of like, hey, we're using this all the time, can you add it? Let us know, and we can do some things like that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hey, great one. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Hey, keep throwing some questions out there if you guys got those. Definitely, that's what helps us to know and keep in track with kind of, what's really going on in the real world there. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. We're going to transition now to a little bit of documenting work and move kind of out of the safety piece a little bit. And I want to talk a little bit about supporting roles, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about emergency callouts, and Randall's going to help me with some K number stuff. So Randall, we might find even a K number I can look into. I might even show the page that where they documented that once we have find one good here. So let's first talk about just our activities. So we got a lot of bridge flushing. A lot of bridge flushing was done in April. Maybe some are kind of still working on that a little bit. That could be kind of an assigned role. And what I'm trying to hit are these ones that we do with a lot of people. So KK's got his striping crews have started firing up. Often we've got another person helping us there. We could be doing some spraying operations, particularly some of our new spraying operations with the UTVs. We might have a couple of people from different buildings involved, but chip seals. Either some maybe have started, but for sure we'll start probably picking that up pretty good here in another month. Mowing operations. Often we find that we will kind of hook up on mowing and mowing other people's areas. So the first thing I want you always to have to ask yourself, everyone's going to have a lead in a building, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing. You could send a brand new employee to another building. Now all of a sudden they're a lead. We have to do that to get the job number information. But you've got to work yourself through. First, the question, who really is the lead? I think you guys have each year got better on this, but it's really easy to mess up. Bridge sealing, chip sealing. Whose is it? Oh, it's the bridge crews. No, it's the buildings. Have that conversation right up there when you start talking about who's going to be doing what. Only one person enter the PAs. One person take care of the materials. You got to think through whose warehouse is that in often. Oh, that's over there in that warehouse. That's where we store the oil, but they're not the real lead. Talk through it. Are we going to transfer material? The other piece you need to question yourself, and often it helps if you do this, one of the first things is who put it on their work plan. So you might think through that piece first. Okay, wait a second. This is on Lebanon's work plan. So then, we need to make sure it works best if it's on their work plan to stay with that, right? They're the real lead of the activity. They're the ones doing PAs or doing material. They put in cost. Think through that. It's not the worst case if it doesn't play out that way, but we're challenging ourselves to be better at that concept of making a work plan, particularly when we talk about this, how much money we're going to spend. It's coming out of your E&E budget. What does that look like? So really challenge yourself. It's those activities we get more people involved, and it does happen frequently. Honestly, I think it's a good thing for us to be involved in helping everyone complete their work. But who's the lead? This burden really comes down to crew leaders, assistant. It really is more an assistant supervisor, right? Our crew leaders are doing the very best they can, but supervisors have got to look at what's on that review and submit. I know your lives are busy, but knowing that it needs to, once you hit it's good, it really is good. It was the right people, right activity, right PA. Use your crew to help you be successful, right? Use those crew leaders, those assistants to verify, but put that effort in there, expand those things out and make sure. So again, encourage you, think through your process. Who is doing what and what's that look like? So with that, I'm going to transition to springtime activity here, right? Unfortunately, over the last couple months or the last couple weeks here, we've definitely have had some activities going on where with tornadoes, some flooding. We had several several routes that were closed yesterday, particularly kind of up in the northeast, kind of through the middle of the state. So think through the process when it comes to call outs. So I'm in our test environment right now. One of our employees at Ozark, and I put this in for Sunday. So if you are a maintenance worker series, okay, so if you are a bridge or maintenance worker, intermediate, senior, I believe this also will work the same kind of way if I don't know that it'll work on our signal lighting technicians because I believe we've set them up as leads all the time, so this probably wouldn't work for them as much. But Robert here is a senior maintenance worker. He was called out Sunday to work from 1 to 8. Strong winds, tornado stuff activity. Windstorms, the activity obviously here. But notice when he's called in, again, there wasn't a crew made. For those people, they have the ability to pick this emergency call out work, and they basically can have the ability to build themselves as a crew. So let me hit refresh here. And so that they can set themselves up to Oh, it didn't help. I kicked my own self out of here. Oh, just a second. I thought I could get ahead by starting this. Okay, so he can come in here and he can click his emergency call out work, select the activity. Again, we do that because maybe it was in the afternoon, right? So we look at, is it after your normal work hours or a non-work day? And sure enough, yep, there it is. Are you the designated leader? Yes, Bradbury was, and he can hit save. So it basically switches it. They can be the leader. If there were two other people, they can come in here and they would do the same thing, emergency call out, select the activity, and then say no, and they basically then are assigned to Mr. Bradbury. They can build a crew on the fly. Again, this is for our maintenance worker series. We have videos out there. Encourage you guys, anytime you go look at those, holler at us. We can shoot those videos to you. But that's a big part of what's going on right now. So I had a question recently with one of our crews. They got really frustrated. You know, there's constantly missing job numbers. I encourage you all. You know, if it's assigned work, it's pretty much it's going to be there unless someone's deleted themselves off as lead, right? The main way we're aware of, but help us if we don't want to miss something. If consistently people aren't getting job numbers in, they've got to be picking activities and they're not a lead, or somewhere in the process, they've got to be basically just exiting the system, turning it off, not finishing through it. But crazy things can happen. Reach out to us. Let us know. Let's look and see what you're doing, right? We don't want the system not to work correctly, but it should be the exception. Very seldom ever should supervisors have to be go in and fill in job numbers. Again, I think this is an example of you calling in people. If they don't do their emergency call out, it would be needing a job number, right? Because they're not a lead. But just keep that in mind. Help your crews out. Help them to be successful in those particular pieces with that. So Randall, let's go to K numbers. Randall's been working on some K number information, property damage. I'm gonna try and pull it up in production and show how they documented. But we'll go take a look at one of those. All right, so what do we got here? We got K23. What does it look at? What's the let's see here. What's the org? 7B30. Is that
30.
right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
30.
Okay. I'm gonna go look at that while you talk through this information for a second. 7B30.
And the date, so there was 2 dates, Michael, the 25th and the 8th, 25th of last year.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing on this, we've been working with financial services, several different people, and before financial services can bill insurance company, whoever it is, on a K number, they have to go through all of the documentation and make sure it matches perfectly. So everything that you document in MMS gets transferred over to SAM2. That SAM2 stuff is required, has to match the documentation that you turned in for that property damage number. If not, insurance companies, whoever contests it, say, look, your documentation doesn't even match, we're not paying this. So we've been working with them, trying to come up with a way to help them look at all that data and make sure that it's matching. And it's been pretty interesting, to be honest with you, to see the differences. So you'll have to bear with me. We're working through this still yet, so the graphics aren't the greatest on some of these. But this is basically all of the information that comes from maintenance events, which is SAM2. It's the data mart. So it gives everything that is the official documentation of it, all of the labor, equipment, inventory, and other expenses that are there. These are all of the charges that we say are official. This stuff on this page is the MMS stuff. So this is what you documented in MMS. Keep in mind, if you make changes in TRS before it's submitted, that's why some of those things are different. So We do this a lot with federal activities. We end up going back and making changes in MMS to update that so it's all the same, so we can bill FHWA. It's kind of the same thing here. So when we get to this third page, this is the comparison. So it takes most of the same information. We've got what was documented MMS labor, what's reported in SAM2, it's the same, right? The equipment stuff, we've got the unit numbers, everything. In SAM2, it's showing 36 hours, MMS documented 36, it's the same. But here's a good example of, we get down here and SAM2 is showing 4 inventory items, 2 of this post, 1 and 1, but MMS, they've documented 2 and 2. So most likely what it looks like has happened is the employee documented 2 of this post here, realized, oh, that wasn't really what we charged out, got a hold of financial services, they go back in, make corrections, and now we've got 2 different posts charged out. So this is just a way we're looking at trying to compare and help them. Just kind of reflects back the importance of documenting, make sure it's correct, all that kind of stuff. Michael, you want to elaborate or find what you've found there in MMS?
Yeah, so let me take and show you, Mac. Again, this is not pointing to any building. Just happened to be the example we brought up, right? Okay, so this is Ellsbury. This was last May, all right? And so for supervisors, you're very used to the review and submit page. One of the things to maybe help a little bit, if you come to job number here and you hit that filter, you can filter on any job number. Again, you got a lot of things you're looking at. So I always still start with the employee needs to do the very best they can, right? Have we set them up for success, right? Do they fully understand it? Okay, we've done everything, they get it, right? So then again, maybe it's a crew leader, assistant is doing this next verification for you. You know, I'm the world's worst. I think if I did it right. You know, I'm human, I can make mistakes. It's got to be verified. But look at that K number. I can search just on that K number, and then I can see specifically this was 4223. That's right. Yep, we had Mr. Ash and Mr. Baxter out there. Absolutely right. They had equipment. I've done the same thing. I've expanded equipment and materials already. I filtered. It just allows me really easily. Someone's doing this verification. This is what was done. So, and you'll notice right there's those posts, right? We did 2 posts. They were 2 PSTs posts and 2 anchors, right? That's all charged out. As you all know, frequently, if not all of you, risk management sends you a piece of paper. And now you fill out a piece of paper with exactly what you should have documented. And that's where I'm kind of struggling with. I was in a conversation last week. I said, I think we've got amazing people. I know we do. They're doing a phenomenal job documenting. I don't know why they're filling out a piece of paper. That they're telling you everything we did. Here's your labor, here's your equipment, here's your materials, other expenses. All they're doing it in MMS. I still don't understand. And then I talked to a financial service manager from one of your districts, and they told me 9 out of 10 K numbers, financial services has to go in that district and fix the labor or the equipment. I don't understand that. So we're going to focus more on this, figure out what's going on. I know there are times, had a separate conversation with a different financial service manager yesterday. This particular one said, hey, you know, time has to be put in today and they haven't been given a K number. I said, I understand the exceptions completely, right? I understand an exception, but 9 out of 10 K numbers you got to fix? That's not logical to me at all. That means we're just not, the system isn't working right, or we're not getting things in here. So I'm going to encourage you all to be mindful of what's documented is exactly what ends up needing to be reimbursed. I believe there was a couple of particular items. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to let Randall share that again. First thing is the accessibility of getting a K number, right? You guys are subject to someone giving you the K number. Don't approve that day until that K number is given, right? Well, hey, Michael, that's easier said than done. You got to do it. The only thing to me short of not doing that is time absolutely has to be submitted by this morning. They haven't given it to you, they haven't given it to you. That's their fault, right? They can then make all those changes over there in the financial service system. They did not get that part to you. But short of that, hitting submit without that being correct, and again, I think it's redundant work asking you to fill out a piece of paper with the exact things you just documented, is why we are presenting what we are. Okay. I don't know if financial services will even, they might even laugh at us. They might say, we don't give a care. We don't want this silly report, right? We want them to continue to give us a piece of paper that tells us what they did. And I come back to just, well, why is the paper more accurate than what's in MMS? What's going on? So if you guys got some feedback on that one, help us. Some of your buildings, I mean, you could have 10 K numbers in a day. I know it can be some large, but we're trying to make sure we're tying these things together and capturing that particular information. So I hope the information I'm getting is maybe just some weird stuff going on. But I know you guys, I mean, that's the last thing you would want. None of you want to fix 9 out of 10 of your people's time. And that just doesn't make sense, right? So, all right, we're going to go to a few other topics. If you guys got something on that K number, some suggestions, hey, put it there in the chat. Let us know what things for us to make sure we're aware of. And so I want to talk about striping. Got some of our striping crews on here. Last week or the last 2 weeks, we had made it so that there was a video out there for striping. I don't know if Randall or Tommy, if you guys want to try to put that in the chat or not, but we had it running out there for a while. And so I'm going to come in here. And what I want to demonstrate is I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like for the support building, right? We talk a lot about what does that look like for that support side to make sure how are they documenting. So for the striping crews, last Wednesday we gave a short demonstration, and it was pretty short, like 17 minutes. But we just had 2 or 3 buildings on. I think the vast majority of y'all just get it. You didn't need to spend time with me. KK, you guys called me the week before. For a striping crew, it basically what the PAs are made on that PA page. That's where you edit. I mean, on the TMS Actuals page, and it all happens right there. But I want to demonstrate what does it look like for the support building. And I keep on sharing the wrong screen here. Sorry about that. What's it look like for the support building? The crew who's going to come and drive a TMA or do something to help the striping crew. Up until now, they had to, I don't need to do a signing work. They had to go and go into that TMS striping map also. So we're going to stop that requiring that process. So if I come in here, again, I'm a support building. They'll have to make sure that their person's a lead for that striping activity. They've picked striping. They're going to be driving a TMA for you. Who knows? Maybe they're even running the machine or something for you, right? But they're out of a different building. So they take care of their hours. They're going to take care of their equipment usage. And then on the next page is going to ask them, are you supposed to report performance actuals for this activity? We defaulted to yes. Probably 95% of the time, people reporting for 221 really are that group who's reporting this. They are the striping crew, right? They're not a support building, not a support person. The answer for this is no. Now notice Brian's out of Ozark. He's helping the Springfield Stripers. Look how it just goes to the normal MMS map. They don't need TMS access anymore. They need to know, hey, what kind of application this over here on this right-hand side. We defaulted to overstripe. Again, that's the vast majority we do, but if it was over surface, they're striping some chip seals, you need to change it there first. And then they can come in here and they can pick, hey, we striped JJ today. And they're going to pick it just like they normally will. This will, in the background, is taking care of getting the right federalization number because we've answered it was overstriped. They pick whatever routes they need, hit done. They don't do any materials. They don't do any PAs, and it's finished. So I think this is a real win-win for the whole striping crew as a whole. I think it makes it much more efficient for the officer, for the support buildings, and I think it also is helping us out in how we did it for the striping crews, how we got everything on the TMA page itself. Okay, any questions about striping? Randall's going to highlight 2 items on litter pickup and spraying. So I'll pause for just a second. Any thoughts or questions up until this point? Thank you, Tommy, for putting that video out there. All right. Let's see here. Melanie asked a question. What are the recommendations for obtaining a K number? Every after hours science hit, I probably don't understand to extent what they're investigated. Yeah, that's a great question, Melanie. So every one of those is a K number in the districts. I don't know exactly Central District's process. I believe you either ask risk management or financial services. Sometimes they kind of combine those people sometimes, and there's some changes happened over the last year. But what I would do, just like I showed you, that if you called a maintenance worker out for it or senior maintenance worker out for it, right, they could still put themselves as a lead person by doing the emergency call out, pick 223, pick the location. They've done everything. All it needs now is the K number, and then use the supervisor or assistants. Don't approve that day. Call and get that K number before anything is submitted. All you've got to do then is go back to that lead person's labor page and enter that K number there on the labor page. So if something happens on Saturday, you're probably not going to get it to Monday. And that's perfectly fine. But the employees can still do their documentation. All should be missing is the K number, right? And then fill that in. But you're right. They could have 4 of them, 5 of them. What they've got to make sure they do is they'll have unique activities for each one. I believe Tommy and I and Randall Sharif talked about this multiple times. I believe the best way for them to keep track of that kind of stuff, let me share my screen here again, is because you've really got to keep up with which one's which. So if I'm doing if I'm doing 3 or 4 K numbers, I need to have 3 or 4, and it's all for signing. I need to have separate 3 or 4 of these. Okay. And then I don't know the K number yet for whatever reason. Financial services isn't going to risk management. It's a Friday night. It's a middle of the night. It's a weekend. Then put down what that was. I was on I-70, mile marker, whatever, right? The next one was on US 63. The next one was in town. Have them do something like that, because then, they can have that ability to keep up with what that is when they go through their documentation. See that right up there? That way they can know they don't get those things mixed up, and they can keep through each one of them. So I highly encourage. It makes sense to me. Well, I was doing yours, Melanie, but it makes sense to me. Make sure that you keep up with what that looks like for them in their documentation, and it's going to help out far better if they'll do something to give them a clue of where is that, and then they take care, pick their location, do their material, enter all of that. But again, I believe it makes the most amount of sense to do this documentation as you're doing it. It is so hard to keep up with afterwards. We wanted this to always be, so there's the next activity. Let it be something that's processed all at one time and not done later and just thrown on someone else's desk. But there's always an exception. It could be horrible. Who knows, right? We got tornadoes, all kinds of crazy things. But again, normal work call out process. How's that being entered? I think it makes the most amount of sense that 95% of everything that employee did, or those couple employees did for call outs, was documented, after they left. Coming back Monday morning makes a lot of issues, but you guys know your business much better than me. Okay. So yeah, holler at me, Melanie, if there's anything we can do there. Kind of look at some examples. That'd be great. All right. So Randall, why don't you highlight a little bit of our litter pickup and spraying, and we'll go from there. Thank you, man.
All right, sounds good. So let's document a little bit of litter pickup here. You guys have been doing it for the last couple of months. I think the bulk of it's over, but we'll just do a little quick reminder here on a suggestion that was made to keep track of how many bags that we pick up. So we'll get litter pickup selected. And basically, you're just going to go to the materials page and do an other expense. We have added in trash bags. So we'll say we picked up there. So we've added trash bags as another option. So to other expenses, if you click on those expenses, and all you need to do is start typing in trash. Oops. And it's going to bring up these non-inventory items. So there is an inventory item for a sign. We don't want that. We want either pounds of trash or bags, depending on how you're disposing of it and how you want to keep track of it. We'll select this, and then however many bags you picked up. So if you picked up 50 bags, the unit cost, you can change this. We put it at $1 just because it's easy math to figure out what the dollar amount was, how many it is, and then you save that. Now, whenever you go out to results and you pull a report, you're going to see that quantity of 50 and $50. So just a good way. I know there's a lot of people using it. We've ran a few reports, and a lot of different people are using it. So that's a good feature there. We're also going to talk just for a second about spraying. So if I document spraying, let's do it for a different day.
Hey, Randall.
Yes, sir.
Hey, before you go into the spraying, hey, I'm picking up trash over the weekend, and notice like on the pounds, it won't allow you to add, like if you guesstimate pound cost. We picked up a lot of rubber. We didn't pick up really a lot of bags, so I really couldn't enter pound. So I just pretty much guessed like bag worth, I guess, would be considered as what we did as far as picking up rubber.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. It's just an estimate, and it's there to keep track of how much you picked up. So that'll work.
Okay, so
not
like
sure
that, the
why
pound.
it wouldn't. Let's go look and let's do one with the pounds and see what it does. So let's go back through this litter.
It was saying something about the value. It wouldn't equal something, or it wouldn't
Okay.
allow me to put any to use that one specifically.
Okay, so let me cancel this and delete this one. Now we'll go to other. We're going to enter our trash back in again. Pounds. So the quantity. So I mean, if you went over 100,000, it wouldn't. But let's say you picked. I don't know.
No, I just said 300 pounds, 200 pounds, something like that.
300 pounds, and then add a unit cost of. We'll go back to $1.
Okay, so I'll just add $1 in the
Yeah, you got to
unit
have a
cost.
unit cost of something. Yep, whether it's $1 or a penny or whatever you want to charge it to. You need a unit cost and a quantity so it can calculate the cost.
Okay, thank you, sir. That helped me out a lot.
You bet. Okay, so let's go back now to what were we going to do? We were going to do spraying. So let's add an activity. We'll go to roadsides and let's do 41W. So we'll go to next. We just want to point out that there's a few different things that you can do with comments. So we'll do spray in there, both directions. So you see the little comment button up here. Mark has asked, especially if you're using the UTVs that were provided or in combination with the Department of Conservation, that you document that in here. So if you click on this, you can add whatever notes you want. And then you can also add attachments if you want to. Just click on here. All these different documents you can add and save that. That way, whenever you mark or somebody runs to see how many acres or how much has been sprayed with those UTVs. It's easier to do that. It's just a good place for you to keep notes on what you sprayed, what you found. If something, you come across something out there, it's just a good place to keep notes and refer back to. A couple other things real quickly while it's just come to me while I'm here. This last 7 days button. So you can click on this last 7 days and it will show you on the map where you've documented in the last 7 days. So notice how it put these little green lines on the outside, green and yellow. That's been documented in the last 7 days. And then also the call report legend. So if there was a call report for this org for R41W, that call report would be visible on here and you could select that and close that out. So just a couple reminders. That's the same way it is with most all activities. This last 7 day button here, and then the call reports if it's by that for that activity. So we'll go on to done and we'll go to the summary page and just see where those notes are at again. And we'll say we sprayed 2 acres. So notice the notes that you put here. You can click on this or expand it out and see what the comment was and who put that comment in there. So just a couple reminders on that. Like I said, especially if you're using those UTVs, Mark's asked that you put that information into those comments. All right, Michael.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to jump now to talk about career ladder. Again, if you guys got some questions about the spray, and Randall at the very end is going to come back and show you some stuff from results, some new information we've added into that on call reports. So we'll circle back around there. On the career ladder, we loaded those back April 12th. So they've only been out there for a few weeks. I want to kind of give a little bit of awareness again. We did trainings, had a lot of supervisors attend those. Again, just being mindful of what that looks like. So let me share my screen. As a supervisor, and I'm going to come in here, I'm just going to look at Ozark here, come in as Brian. He's got an employee who kind of met that criteria of showing up on career ladder. So when you come in here as a supervisor, again, this is going to be the supervisor in the building, right? So this is not an assistant at all. This is all, even though they might be engaged, HR was very adamant about. This is the maintenance supervisor. This is the bridge maintenance supervisor. This is the signal lighting technician, urban supervisor. I mean, they did not waver on that. That is the responsibility of taking care of it. So go in there, take a look at that. Again, we got an employee at Ozark getting really close to that 2-year eligibility. That's what that's saying there. There's a lot of information on this. Actually, this one has moved on along. So Brian took care of his part. Now it's actually moved up a couple levels, waiting on the assistant maintenance liaison in the district. So if your building has got several of these, what our training with HR was, we want all these now to handled in MMS. So, some buildings have got some people, they've been in their job title for a long time. That's okay, right? They don't want to get a class A, or there's been something. Hey, there could be disciplinary that kicks you out for a year. But look at these. They have that conversation. Call HR up. What do we need to do? We need to move these along. Why are they there? So some of these probably HR needs to just put on hold. People's not doing anything. Other ones, we need to take those proactive steps. And you're going to notice everything has to be checked off of the career ladder. We've kicked around maybe doing another video. Randall did several videos. I don't know, Randall, if you want to put those in the link or not, but we had several videos, one for a supervisor level 1 for the employee, one for HR. Again, just being mindful of what that looks like. The piece that we're very much concerned about is we do not need an employee getting within a short period of time, and now they don't have all their training, right? As soon as an employee comes on, they can see their own career ladder. They can see exactly what's required for them, what they're missing, what that looks like. So I encourage you all, please, as supervisors, go in there. Some of you, if you're crew leaders, you're not going to see anything. You're not in a career ladder anymore. A person who is a maintenance worker or a signal electrician intermediate, they're going to see their own career ladders. But if you're out of that, if you're a senior or crew leader, there's nothing for you to see. but definitely go in there, check that out, look at your org, make sure you're aware of anyone who's getting close. Hit that show all button. That really helps you to know even kind of the people that's coming along here. I did it again. I cannot keep from hitting that wrong monitor there. You can see here on Ozark. So, Brian can hit this show all, and it's going to tell him right there. That's really very much good to where John is getting close, right? He's almost, it said, his 2 year to be moved to a senior. John needs to be looking at his supervisor to be looking at, is there anything missing? We got some big stuff out there, that OSHA 10, the TIMS training, all of that's got to be checked off before moving forward. So proactively look at that, be aware of those particular things. Tommy, we've got a couple of new items on leave request. I'm going to let him highlight those, a couple of new things coming towards us. And then we're going to finish out, I think, with Randall on results.
So the first one is we fixed a bug in the leave request, and I'll show you here. I'm in the test environment impersonating Mr. Peeler here. We'll go to the leave calendar, and we'll go pick a future date. We'll do tomorrow. We want to request leave, and so what was happening was it was setting the end date to be the following day. So people were accidentally requesting 2 days off. And then once they realized, they had to go back and change this end date to be May 1st to May 1st. And what it really was the system was looking at, it was midnight on May the 1st to midnight, and was the following midnight, which was really May the 2nd. We're not even sure how long this had been doing this. We don't believe it was there initially, but at some point this was there. So anyway, we were doing a building visit. Someone brought it up, and sure enough, we got to looking into it, and it was putting start date as May 1, end date as May 2. So that fix will be going out this Friday afternoon, and that'll take care of that situation and create a lot less problems for you guys as far as having to clean that up. The second thing with the leave request is for supervisors. The request was to be able to populate their Outlook calendar as well. So when a leave request come in here, you guys are in your Outlook, in those crew leaders, supervisor assistants, superintendents, you guys are all in your Outlook calendars several times a day, if not all day. And so the request was, so when we populate a leave request, it gets approved over here in the leave application, is can we also populate that in the Outlook calendar? That is scheduled to go in June. And I also wanted to clarify, I mentioned earlier that the observations will be adding the informational buttons there. That is scheduled for June as well. I said May or June, and it is actually June. I checked. So a couple new features coming with our leave application. One's a fix, and one's a new enhancement that was requested.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. Randall, can you mind sharing us that newest information we've added now to results on the data?
You bet. So this is an export from results just for R311. So this column Q here, the call report, is a new column, and you'll see there's a bunch of call reports in there. I don't know, this is test data, so we'll see what happens, but you can pull up the information based on that one call report, and then you can click on the call report and it takes you to there. So I don't know what this is, but that's all new. That's all recently been added. Is that in production right now? Tommy, do you remember?
I'm sorry, I was typing something. What was the question?
Call report on the
nope, it's going this week. It's going
this week.
Afternoon.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So that will be there this week.
All right. Thank you all. So once again, there's an hour. Thank you all for sharing your time with us. Appreciate all the feedback. Let us know what we can do to make sure these are beneficial to everyone. There's a lot of information there. A lot of pieces that kind of go into different pieces. But the last thing we want to really share with you is that we have made an effort in the last month or two to spend some time at some supervisor meetings, some superintendent meetings, actually a couple of building visits. If you're interested in any of that, shoot us a note. Let us know. Sheree, Randall, Tommy, they're much better people to come and listen to, or Don, than me, but you might have to draw the short straw and get me. But we would be more than willing to take that opportunity if there's a way that we can gather with you guys. Listen to a little bit. We're going to be making an effort this next year of rebuilding some of documenting work. So it's really good to kind of get some of your input there. What's the holdups? What's the struggles? Are we even doing the right stuff? Are we focused even on the right stuff, right? It's about what you guys do daily. So thank you so much. Be careful out there. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the beautiful day. Looks like it's going to be pretty nice here. I think we're going to hit about 80 degrees in Ozark, Missouri. Hey, if you don't like where you're at, come on down. Join us. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. See ya.